Hey, what's going on? This is Joe from Phandroid. A couple of weeks ago, I answered a bunch of questions from you guys, and today I'm going to answer more that I didn't get to last time. You can watch the first part of that video up here, but without further ado, let's get into it. What happened to LG, Motorola, and HTC with regards to their design languages and how their phones have seemingly been watered down or at least hit a slump in recent models? Were there personnel shifts that most consumers would be oblivious to? I think Motorola had some obvious personnel changes, with being acquired by Google and then Lenovo and stuff like that. But I think the bigger reason why we've seen design kind of flatline is because when smartphones were new, they were trying a bunch of different things, trying to see what stick. But as time has gone on, it's been simplified, and now we basically realize that people just need a slate with the display in the front and a camera on the back. And that's pretty much what phones are nowadays. And it does seem a little boring, but you can look at other technologies and see the same thing. You know, laptops are all pretty much the same. It's just a display that flips up with a keyboard. Some of the displays spin around, some of them don't. Desktop computers all kind of look the same, and so technology just kind of evolves into what we need in its most simplified form. Thoughts on AI? I mean, it's cool, but do you think it's really what we need as of right now? I question that sometimes too. Is AI something that we even need? But I think the thing to remember is that everything starts somewhere. And so AI right now might not be something that you use every day. I know it's certainly not something that I use every day, but you got to start somewhere. And so things like Google Assistant, Amazon Alexa, they're good starting points, and they can do a lot of cool things right now, but they're only going to get better. And so hopefully in the future, AI will be something that we need and use every single day. But right now it's just growing. Why is the Snapchat app so bad on Android? Yeah, I wonder this all the time, and Snapchat actually answered this question. They basically admitted to focusing primarily on iOS. And it really shows. They treat Android like a second-class citizen. They've never supported the camera APIs in Android, and so the app is just really slow and laggy, and it doesn't work very well. It kills battery life. It's just not a good app because they don't care about Android. And so I personally have stopped using Snapchat a lot. Instagram can do pretty much all of the things Snapchat can do now, and it works a million times better. So maybe that's something to consider if you really hate Snapchat. What would you like the next version of Android to be called? I feel like the obvious answer here is Oreo, but personally, I am a big fan of oatmeal cream pies, the Little Debbie snacks, and so I would love for the name to be that, but I kind of doubt it will be. I'm gonna guess it's gonna be Oreo. Is it really necessary to launch a phone every year with the highest specs? Isn't it enough for a phone having a processor which can do all the smartphone tasks thrown at it? And also, what's your take on phone OSs that are present today? Do you prefer stock Google or is any other? When you talk about technology is really never gonna stop at what's necessary. Technology moves faster than what we really need. If you look at phones, they have a lot of things that we don't actually really need. For example, Ultra HD displays. Most people would be perfectly fine with 1080p, and a lot of people would probably even be fine with 720p, but that's not where they're gonna stop. They're gonna keep making it better and better. Processors are the same way. They're gonna make them better and better because it's something that they can point to in marketing and be like, hey, look at this, it's better than last time. And so technology doesn't really go at the same pace of what's necessary. It's actually kind of annoying for phones too, because you look at the things that are constantly getting upgraded from year to year. Processor gets a little bit better, display gets a little bit better, the phone gets thinner, things like that. Whereas features that we actually do care about and would like to be improved, like battery life, don't get improved a lot. You can look back at the Samsung Galaxy S5, has a 2800 milliamp hour battery. That's almost 3 years old. And the Galaxy S7 has a 3000 milliamp hour battery. That's not a very big improvement over that amount of time. Whereas if you look at the other features in the S5 to the S7, big improvements. So I would love to see phones be improved in these areas that actually do need to be improved instead of just tiny little updates and things that don't even really need to be updated. And the second part of your question, I prefer stock Android. Tell me why Chrome OS is a better OS than Android for tablets and notebooks. I think what it boils down to is the bigger your display gets, the less you need apps. You know, when I'm using my phone and I want to read Phandroid, I'm going to go for the Phandroid app. But if I'm on my laptop or I'm on a 10-inch tablet or something like that, I'm just going to open up the browser and go to Phandroid. Most websites have gotten to a point where they work really well on a variety of devices. They scale to screen sizes and stuff like that. When you're on your computer, you're not using apps because you can do pretty much everything in the browser. And tablets have gotten to a point where they can support browsers well enough that that's really all you need. Chrome OS is great because it's basically just Chrome. It's a browser, and you can do everything you need without apps. Can you mention me in the video? No. Do you think Google should bring back the Google Play Edition devices? I would love it, and I know a lot of Android enthusiasts would love it, but I'm not sure it's really that necessary anymore. It's like Samsung and LG and HTC, their Android skins are all pretty decent now. Some of them aren't great, but they get the job done. And Android updates have gotten a little better over the years. Obviously, that's something that still needs to be worked on. The Google Play devices, they just weren't really that popular. You know, they were expensive because you had to buy them outright. And I think more people are used to doing that nowadays. So maybe it would be different if they came out with Google Play devices again. But I don't see that happening, especially since Google now is in the flagship market. So there's really no advantage to them to do it because they would just be selling phones that compete with their own phone. What Android or iOS device are you using as your daily driver and why? So I'm using the LG V20. I was using the HTC 10, but then I got some Wi-Fi issues, so I switched to the LG G5. But then I was kind of getting annoyed with battery life, so I thought I would switch to the little bit bigger LG V20 and get some better battery life. That's basically why, just battery life. Do you think that iMessage will ever come to Android? I don't know, but if it does, it will be because Apple figured out a way to monetize it, because otherwise there's no advantage to them to bring iMessage to Android. All it would do is allow more iOS users to switch to Android, because iMessage is a big thing keeping a lot of people on iPhones. So if there's no advantage to Apple to do it, I don't see why they would. Which phone are you more excited about, the S8 or the G6? Well, that's a really tough choice because they actually have a lot in common, even just the way that they look in leaks that we've seen so far. I'm excited for both of them. I'll lean towards the G6 just because I'm using an LG phone right now, but I'm really excited for the S8 too. I liked the Note 7 a lot before I had to get rid of it, and so I'm looking forward to a phone from Samsung that doesn't explode. Why do manufacturers pre-bundle junk apps like CC Cleaner, UC Browser in their devices? Money. It's all about money. These companies, they give a bunch of money to the carriers, and in return, the carriers load their apps on your phone, and it's pretty much just all because of money. There's nothing you can do about it. It sucks. Can this be my question? Yes. In fact, it can be the last question. I want to thank everybody for sending in their questions. We greatly appreciate it. And once again, be sure to check out part 1 for even more questions and answers. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe to the Phandroid channel for more. We'll see you next time.